of fantasy baseball today on Wednesday, May 7th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Towers. Today on the show, we had a disaster day for relievers. We'll talk about 5 hitters you might be able to drop, rank some starting pitchers for the rest of the season, and I have questions for Chris. Let's jump in.
Is this happening? It is!
All right, Chris, you are up. Player of the night.
Chris Sale, who, I don't know, he got off to a weird start. Like, he was bad. He had a 5.40 ERA in the first month of the season, but I don't know about you. I never felt any real concern level. Like, this was one of those ones where, like, his velocity was mostly fine. I think there was one start where it was a little down, but, like, the slider was awesome. You know, the changeup still looked good. It's just, like, it was one of those situations where he just wasn't pitching well. And you can never be certain that that's going to turn around, right? Sometimes Aaron Nola just doesn't pitch well for seemingly an entire season. But betting on Chris Sale to figure this out always felt like the right move. And lo and behold, 2 straight double-digit strikeout efforts, 2 straight where he's pitched into the 7th inning after only getting 5 innings in his first 6 starts. Chris Sale's fine. He's back.
Yeah, I had a segment with questions later on. One of them was, is Chris Sale back? And you have already answered that question.
Yeah.
If you look at
I feel good about it.
3 starts, the past 3, I know the past 2 have been double-digit strikeouts. The one before that, it was like 5 innings, 1 run. So technically a good start for him. Last 3 outings for Chris Sale, 1.45 ERA, 1.02 whip, 24 strikeouts over 18 2/3 innings. And I'll tell you what, I think the Braves seem to be confident in him still. They don't have any concerns. They let him throw 112 pitches in this start. So they're just like, go, do your thing. You've got free reign. We're going to let you go as far as you can. The only thing I've noticed under the hood, Chris, is that the fastball is not performing nearly as well this year. It had an xWOBA over 400 entering this start. Last year, that was 299. So do think the fastball has to get back on track. And these last 2 starts, double-digit strikeout outings have come with him throwing the slider over 55% of the time in each. I don't know how sustainable that is for how long that is sustainable for, but I do think at some point we do have to see that fastball get back on track.
Yeah, when you look at the fastball, you're right. The results haven't been great. I think it's mostly a location thing. I think it's mostly just that he's been catching a little more of the middle of the zone than he usually does. You know, he usually likes to work in the upper part of the zone with the 4-seamer. This season, it's been more middle. And it doesn't matter if you come from a super low arm slot and get good extension and throw 95 from the left side. If you're leaving it in the middle, guys are going to hit it. And I think it's mostly just he needed to pitch better, and he has. And I never moved Chris Sale down in my rankings, I don't think. And certainly not now. You missed your buy low window, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think it was last week that we told people to go out and buy on Chris Sale. So that looks like it has been slammed shut. The ERA is still over 4 with a 133 whip, but everything else looks great. It's a 302 FIP, 312 xFIP, 12K per 9 for Chris Sale. So yes, he does look like he is back. Let's stick with the pitchers and talk about Matthew Liberatore, who outdueled Paul Skeens for the win here. 7 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, had 17 whiffs on 99 pitches, really had everything working in this start. For the majority of the season, it has just been the slider that has been great for Liberatore, but he had everything working here. 7 whiffs on the fastball, 4 on the cutter, 3 on the slider, 2 on the changeup, 1 on the curve. Fastball was actually up a little bit in terms of velocity in this one. This was the best the fastball has looked all season. The cutter velocity was up nearly 2 miles per hour as well. This kind of just feels like the most complete start that I've seen from Matthew Liberatore so far in his career. And it's interesting that entering this outing, he only had 3 walks total on the season, and then he had 3 walks in this start, but he was still just so good generating whiffs. And at this point, it's a 307 ERA, 0.95 whip. He's gone 6+ innings in 6 of 7 starts. Once upon a time, this was a pitcher that had legit prospect pedigree. I don't know, Chris, it might just be a late bloomer and he's figuring it out. Like, maybe this is Liberatore's breakout. I don't know.
It's possible. I think the most interesting thing about this start is, like you said, he's gone slider heavy for the most part. It had been his most used pitch entering this start. And I think it was his 3rd most pitch in this one. 3rd most used pitch. And that was because the Pirates Did they only start 1 or 2 lefties?
I can pull that up for you.
Very few of his pitches came against lefties. Only 13 out of 99 pitches came against lefties. So I would think it was just O'Neal Cruz. Maybe Brian Reynolds. Is he?
He's a switch hitter. There was O'Neal Cruz. I have no idea which side of the plate this guy Gorski bats from. He's a righty as well.
Yeah, I think it might have been O'Neal Cruz as the only lefty in the lineup. And so he had to adapt. You know, he couldn't throw he threw his slider a bunch in the rare times he faced the lefty, 7 of the 13 pitches. But it was his fourth most used pitch against righties. And it still worked for him because, like you said, the 4-seamer and cutter velocity were up. They were really effective. He was spotting the pitches well. I do think this was probably the most impressive start from Matthew Liberatore, a guy that I've been pretty skeptical of. But we are seeing tangible changes, both in the velocity being up here, but more the pitch selection. And then the fact that he could go up against a righty heavy lineup and still find that kind of success, I think speaks really, really well. I'm not saying Matthew Liberatore is an ace or anything like it moving forward, but we had 2 pitchers in the 60% ish roster rate range who had very good starts. It was Matthew Liberatore and then Andrew Abbott. I think I like Liberatore more. I don't know about you. Abbott is just weird. He's just always been a weird pitcher, and I've never been able to figure him out. And so if you like Andrew, and we'll probably talk more about Andrew Abbott shortly, but if you like him more than I do, I think that's fine, because I admit that I don't quite get it. But his fastball velocity was up. Andrew Abbott's was in this one. So that could help explain it. But yeah, I thought this was the more impressive performance out of the 2. And I would rather, if they're both available, go out and add Matthew Liberatore. I wish his next start wasn't against the Phillies, but he is a 2-start pitcher next week, and he gets the Royals after that. That's a good matchup. And hey, that slider's going to come in handy against Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper, right? He's going to have to throw that one in the next start. So I think, I feel pretty good about where Matthew Liberatore is right now.
And he's a spark. So if you play in head-to-head points leagues, you have that added eligibility. Quickly mention Andrew Abbott's line here at the Braves: 5 shutout innings, 8 strikeouts, 0 walks, 11 whiffs on 91 pitches. It was nice to see the control here of 0 walks after he had 9 walks combined in his previous 2 outings there.
He's just so weird.
Abbott. Yeah, it's a 2.25 ERA, 117 whip. Great strikeout rate, but the walks have been high. I mean, he is an extreme fly ball pitcher. Yeah. He is even higher this year. We're talking like a 60% fly ball rate, which is insane for a pitcher who pitches in Great American Ballpark. But
he gets a lot of weak contact.
We've been saying that for a couple of years now, and Andrew Abbott is still just kind of performing.
But the thing is, as a rookie, he got a lot of strikeouts. Last year, he didn't get any strikeouts. His strikeout rate, I think, was below 20%. And yet he was really good because he improved the command, the control, and the quality of contact against him was really good. This season, it's been tons of strikeouts, although really only the 2 starts, right? He has the 10 strikeout game and the 8 strikeout game now. I think it's been 5 or fewer in the other 3 starts. And then the walk rate is super high. But again, it's kind of only the 2 starts. He's got the one with 5, the one with 4. I don't think he has more than 2 in any of his other 5 starts. So it's just, Andrew Abbott's just weird. And I don't quite know what to make of him. And there is just something about Andrew Abbott that I just can't grok. And he will continue to make me look foolish. I don't know.
Did you say grok as a verb?
Yeah, that's a verb, right?
Okay.
Understand, I think is, understand. All right. So we like to get our vocabulary words in. I can't remember what Scott's was. Lark yesterday.
Lark and grok. Here we go.
Yeah, we love a K sound. But yeah, I do think I don't trust Andrew Abbott generally, but especially at home. I think it's more likely 2 of his 3 good start. 2 of his 3 road starts have been very good. Then the one was at Coors Field that wasn't good. So I feel pretty good with Abbott as a road streamer at the very least.
This shows you where my head is at this point in just life and technology. When you said Grok, my mind instantly went to the AI Grok, like on X.
Yeah.
You can ask Grok a thing, but it's also a legitimate verb. I thought you were using the AI Grok as a verb.
No, that's it's a verb.
Yeah, I'm a mess, dude. If you are, I think I prefer Liberatore over Andrew Abbott as well. Yesterday we spoke about AJ Smith-Shawver. The day before it was Gunnar Hoagland. So I guess let's rank all 4 pitchers here, Chris. I think I would put Liberatore at the top. I'm going to go Liberatore.
It's Abbott and who?
I'll go Liberatore, Abbott, AJ Smith-Shawver, and Gunnar Hoagland. How would you rank the 4?
Yeah, I think Liberatore. I think if both AJ Smith-Shawver and Abbott were available, I'd probably prioritize AJ Smith-Shawver.
That one is close.
And then I think Hoagland is last. Although I think he's really interesting. Like his fastball looked really good. His changeup was good. I do think there could be something there with Gunnar Hoagland.
All right, some oh my goodness gracious shout outs. Just want to talk about these things up top here because it was just a crazy day. I mean, Tuesday, we've got a full slate, although I think there was one game postponed, but there was also a doubleheader. So
I think this was also how last Tuesday was, or maybe it was last Monday. One of the early days last week, we also had, I believe, a Ryan Walker meltdown, maybe another Ryan Presley meltdown, and a couple it's just Monday or Tuesday. Maybe that's all it is.
Honestly, we're not even up to the bullpens yet, Chris. There's other stuff I want to get to even before that. Byron Buxton, I just want to mention, he has been tearing it up. 2 for 4 with his 8th home run. That's back-to-back games with a homer. 22 games since April 11th. Buxton is batting .311 with 7 home runs, 5 steals, and OPS over 900. 92.6 average exit velocity, 17% barrel rate. I mean, he has been amazing. As long as he's healthy on a per-game basis, I think Buxton is going to be a really, really good player. Obviously, we don't know how many games we're going to get, but man, if you got him, just plug him in as long as he's healthy. Yeah. He's been so good.
One of the most fun. Did you see the diving catch he made to end a game, I think, last week?
Yeah, it was insane.
He's the fastest player in baseball according to sprint speed. He's still like one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. I know he can't stay healthy, but man, how could you not root for
Byron
Buxton? He is so much fun to watch.
But even at this point, like his price tag was so far out that even if you get this production for 50 games, it's a win. Like it's a clear win. So
that's it. It's just all bonus at this point. Really, the only time it hasn't been is like he got expensive in 2023. I think like he was around a top 100 pick, but last year he was super cheap. This year he's super cheap. If you just get the 100 games that you got from him last year, he had 7 steals, 18 home runs, and hit 280. Like you add that with whatever replacement level outfielder you can get, that's a really productive spot in your lineup.
Wanted to mention the Yankees, a 10-run inning, which is just insane, capped off by an Austin Wells grand slam. He went 2 for 4 with a sock and a shoe. Actually, the grand slam and the steal both came in the same inning, which is insane. His 7th home run, his first steal of the season. It feels like it's been such a disappointing start for Austin Wells. He had that awesome spring training, and we're thinking, uh-oh, here we come, breakout. But the 220 batting average, I think, is what's really kind of like shaping our perception. He's still on a 28 home run pace and an 85 RBI pace, which is like...
You take that every time.
Amazing for a catch.
I mean, he's played 32 games already. That's
I mean, their backup is a journeyman JC Escara, so they're gonna play Austin Wells as much as he can possibly handle. Like the Escara guy was, I think, driving Uber last year or something. So like,
he's
only plays like once or twice a week.
Yeah, no, Austin Wells, he's not a superstar, but he's very solid, and I still think there's room to grow. Right, like if he hits 240. That's not asking too much. And I think the 20 to 25 homer power is legit here.
Yeah. And then Aaron Judge, no surprise, 1 for 3 with his 12th home run of the season. Let's take our first break. We'll get into the bullpen meltdowns in just a second, but reminder to sign up for the FBT newsletter if you haven't already. If you're watching on YouTube, scan that QR code that will take you right to the website cbssports.com/newsletters, where you could sign up for free. And thanks everyone for watching us live. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's take a break and we'll be back right after this.
She knows, and I know she knows.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball. Today, bullpen meltdowns. Let's just get it out of the way, Chris. Ryan Pressly entered in the 11th inning with the game tied. He recorded no outs. He was charged with 8 earned runs, 9 runs total if you count the Manfred man. 5 hits, 1 walk, a hit by pitch. There was a sacrifice bunt that actually reached base too, so that's how you get 9 runs on the board there.
Yeah, 8 earned runs, 9 runs on 5 hits and 1 walk is like just like I was watching it happen. And I was still like, wait, how did that happen?
In Roto leagues, this is going to take you weeks to recover from. It is insane. And it's I know he's been dealing with the knee injury, but the velocity wasn't down in this one or anything. He's been shaky all season.
He's been bad all season. Like the results have been fine. I think the ERA before this was like 2.50 or something, but he has, I think even entering this start, I believe he had more walks and strikeouts for the season. Yeah.
It was pretty close.
Yeah, he only had a 9% strikeout rate coming into this. 5 strikeouts in 13 innings. He's looked really bad. Porter Hodge has had his own struggles at times. A couple of big blowups in his line as well. Really just the one, I guess. 6 of his 8 runs have come in one outing. I think he's clearly the better pitcher here. I don't think Porter Hodge is like a shutdown closer by any means. His strikeout rate has fallen 10 points from last year. 7 points. His walk rate is up, but I think they have to give him the closer job after this.
Porter Hodge 27% rostered here. So if you've got Pressly, maybe make sure you have Porter Hodge, or if you just want to speculate for saves, it feels like Porter Hodge could get an opportunity here. Bold prediction, maybe not so bold. The Cubs leader in saves is not yet on their team. How about that?
I think there's a decent chance that ends up being the case, just because I don't really trust Porter Hodge. I would guess the fact that they went out and got Ryan Pressly suggests that they didn't super trust Porter Hodge as well. And so, yeah, going out and getting a closer would make a lot of sense.
Hey, Ryan Helsley, here we come. In the division, though, could be tough to make that trade happen. Let's slide over to the Giants. Ryan Walker got the 9th inning with a 2-run lead. He gave up a walk. It was a walk, strikeout, walk, RBI single, strikeout. He was relieved by lefty Eric Miller to face Kyle Tucker. Boom, game-tying single. That was charged to Ryan Walker as well. The final line, he's charged with 2 runs, only recorded 2 outs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And it's a 6.57 ERA, 138 whip. Like, Camilo Doval has just been better this season. So I don't know, for a team that has been as good as the Giants have, and they have been one of the best stories this season, competing in that division, you can't have meltdowns like this. Now, they still won this game, luckily, because they got to face Ryan Pressly later on in the game. But yeah, like they just can't keep trotting Ryan Walker out there. So I don't know when or if, but I feel like Doval, he's going to get a shot at some point.
I agree. This is another one where I feel like, it's been entering today. Walker had 6 saves. Doval had 5. It hasn't really been an even split though. Like there was a stretch where I think Doval I think he got 1 save when Walker had already pitched and had blown a save. Then they put Ryan Walker like on ice for a couple of days, and Doval got 2 saves, I think. So it hasn't really been like a split, even though the numbers are close. I think they've got to give Doval a longer look. And look, he lost the job last year. His strikeout rate is way down so far. Like maybe he isn't good enough to hold on to the job, but I think they have to give him a try,
Who would you rather speculate on, Camilo Doval or Porter Hodge?
I think Doval's better. and I think the situations are similar, so I would go with Duvall.
And then for the Blue Jays, which happened not too long ago now, West Coast game there out in Anaheim. Jimmy Garcia started the 8th inning with a 1-run lead. He recorded only 1 out. He was charged with 3 runs. He was relieved by Jeff Hoffman, who also only recorded 1 out and gave up 2 homers, 3 earned runs. And next thing you know, they're down by like 5 runs and they wound up losing that game. So Jeff Hoffman has been money all season. I'm not worried about it, but it was just another big meltdown here worth mentioning. And I guess while we're at it, I mean, that Athletics game just went final too. Mason Miller was unavailable. They went with Tyler Ferguson in a 1-run game. He was charged with 3 runs. He took the loss and the blown save there. And
Miller's been a little bit shaky lately, but I don't think there's anything to read into that. I think he threw 27 pitches yesterday. He had pitched 3 of the previous 5 days and had struggled in 2 of them. So I think it was probably just a he's not available kind of situation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, let's get into the news and notes. Teoscer Hernandez was placed on the IL with a grade 1 left adductor strain. No timeline for his return. Dave Roberts said Hernandez will be, quote, inactive for a while. James Outman was recalled and in the lineup on Tuesday. 32 games at AAA for Outman. He was hitting .254, 8 home runs, 5 steals, but a 36% strikeout rate. He's only 2% rostered. Any deep league interest in a James Outman?
I wrote about him for tomorrow's waiver wire, but it's not with a ton of confidence. The strikeout rate has been so bad at AAA. It was terrible last year as well, both in the majors and AAA. And he misplayed a ball in center field. I think he was playing that was pretty costly for the Dodgers. So I was hoping it would be Dalton Rushing. It didn't end up being him, but I don't think Outman is the answer. And by the way, the average time, let's make sure it's for hitters only. The average time for hitters with an adductor strain is 44 days, but the median is 21. There are 2 really serious ones that were like season enders that really skew things. So I would say 3-ish weeks is probably what you would expect from Teoscer Hernandez. Like Royce Lewis only missed 23 days with an adductor strain last year. If he could come back in 23 games, 23 days.
I think early June probably makes the most sense for Teoscer Hernandez. Plus, we all know the Dodgers are playing for the World Series, and so they're probably not going to rush their guys back. James Outman, NL only leagues, deeper 15-team roto leagues, things like that. I think you could take a look there. Corbin Burns remains on track to start Saturday against the Dodgers. We also learned that he received a cortisone injection in his right shoulder last Friday. No idea what he's going to look like in that start. Please do not use him against the Dodgers. Apparently, Rafael Devers is not being considered for first base. They plan to stick with a combo of Romy Gonzalez and Abraham Toro for the time being. I don't think the time being is going to be very long because, it's not the greatest combination of players.
Yeah.
Jackson Merrill was activated and batting cleanup in the Padres lineup on Tuesday. He missed a month with a strained right hamstring, so happy to have him back. William Contreras has been playing through a finger injury, apparently, and it's been bothering him long enough that he will now get x-rays on it. So he was someone that popped up. I was looking through leaderboards earlier, and he's off to a slow start. It's like a sub 700 OPS, and this was the top catcher drafted in fantasy. So hopefully, we figure out what's going on, but could explain why he's off to a slow start. Royce Lewis made his season debut on Tuesday. He was batting 5th in the Twins lineup. He went 0 for 4 in his return. Yandy Diaz left early with right hip tightness. Gabriel Moreno was scratched with manager's decision.
Yeah, I haven't seen what actually happened there. It's only been reported as manager's decision. So he's been really bad. Maybe it's just a day off. Maybe they just realized he needs some time. But that was weird.
For Noelvi Marte, he was a late scratch Tuesday with left side pain. Jordan Westberg will work out at AAA a couple days before getting into rehab games later this week. Tommy Edman is not expected to return this weekend, but the hope is he can return early next week. Josh Lowe will move his rehab assignment up to AAA on Thursday. He's been out since opening day with a right oblique strain. Down to 66% rostered. Chris, do you think Josh Lowe is a player that needs to be rostered in all leagues? I guess including head-to-head points.
Not points leagues, no. I'm not sure he's going to play against lefties very much. He's much better suited for roto leagues anyway, but any category league where Josh Lowe's available, he should be rostered.
All right, for Tyler O'Neill, he began a rehab assignment at AAA on Tuesday. The hope is that he will join the Orioles on Friday. Zach Eflin is scheduled to throw a bullpen on Wednesday and said he's close to returning from the IL. The Yankees designated Carlos Carrasco for assignment, and Aaron Boone mentioned Alan Winans and Ryan Yarbrough as replacements until Marcus Stroman is ready to return. The Mariners claim Leody Taveras off waivers could help with the injuries to Victor Robles and Luke Raley, and Landon Knack is scheduled to pitch Wednesday against the Marlins. Let's get into some of the waiver options from Wednesday and from Tuesday, excuse me. We already spoke about Liberatore. We already spoke about Andrew Abbott. Clark Schmidt turned in a quality start against the Padres. 6 innings, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts, only 7 whiffs on 85 pitches. He threw more sweepers in this start. It was solid for him. His cutter velocity was up 1.4 miles per hour in this outing. And I noticed he's ditched his sinker this season. He's basically gone cutter, sweeper, curve, Clark Schmidt has. And all 3 look like really good pitches to start the season. So I don't know. Maybe there's another level here for Clark Schmidt, who is 61% rostered. And then Tyler Anderson, who, I mean, the guy has just been a quality start machine. It's now 4 in a row. He was up against the Blue Jays, 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs, 7 strikeouts, 14 whiffs on 93 pitches. We know the changeup is awesome. He actually threw more cutters in the start, and it was the best it's looked all season. 2.68 ERA, 104 whip. I'm not buying that for Tyler Anderson. But before you just cite FIP and XFIP, his expected ERA was 3.61 entering the start, and his swinging strike rate was 12.6%. I mean, those 2 numbers are really, really good for Tyler Anderson. So, Chris, do you have any interest in Tyler Anderson or Clark Schmidt?
I mean, we know the drill with Tyler Anderson. We know how this works. He had a sub-3 ERA at the All-Star break last year. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Remember Tyler Anderson having a 2.97 ERA through mid-July? He finished the season with a 3.81 ERA. He was unusable in the second half. There are always stretches like this for Tyler Anderson. He's almost never good the whole season. The one outlier would be 2021, I think, when he was with the Dodgers, and he hasn't been able to replicate that for a full season. So it's fine. Like, as a streamer, just don't get married to Tyler Anderson. We know how this works. Also, Dodgers next week.
Yeah.
Probably not streaming him for that one.
But a revenge game, Chris. How about that?
Yeah, I don't think Shohei Ohtani was around when he was there, you know?
Yeah. Clark Schmidt, looking under the hood here at his pitch mix this season and moving away from that sinker, entering the start, his sweeper, 50% whiff rate, his curveball, 44% whiff rate. It's a smaller sample size. He, hasn't made that many starts this season. Any excitement for Clark Schmidt?
I wouldn't say excitement, because what you've also seen along with that is the command has gone really sideways. His walk rate is up to 13.8%. Entering this start, it was only 1 walk today. So that was good to see, but something tells me those things are not a coincidence, right? Like, he's throwing all these secondaries more often, and all of a sudden he's walking guys more. His chase rate is down to 24%. Actually, weirdly, okay, this is weird. Yeah. His in-zone pitch rate is actually higher than it's ever been. Like, significantly higher than last season. It was 47% last year. It's 54% this year. That's a huge jump from one year to the next. And yet his walk rate's gone up because he's not generating any chases. So I don't know.
He can't put hitters away, basically. That's what. Yeah,
I'm not sure what to make of that. But I'm not so enamored with Clark Schmidt's talent that I'm super interested in finding out. I think he's useful, but I'm not viewing him as a must roster player or anything.
He's behind Liberatore and Andrew Abbott for you?
I think he's right there with Abbott. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'd probably still prefer Liberatore, but I think he's right there.
Got to mention Lucas Giolito, who got crushed by the Rangers here. Just his second start back from Tommy John surgery. 3 2/3 innings, 10 hits allowed, 6 earned runs, lots of hard contact. Velocity was down. Basically just threw the fastball and changeup. I mean, this should be expected. Again, just returning from Tommy John surgery. 78% rostered. People picked him up for the 2-start week, Chris. But if you picked him up, would you just drop him for any of the names we've mentioned today? Liberatore and Abbott and Clark Smith. Yeah.
I think that's fine. I will say, I'm trying to remember what it was about Lucas Giolito that everyone was so excited about this time, or last March, I guess. Was it he had gone to Driveline, I think, and there was some hope that he had reworked some stuff, changed his delivery maybe. I'm not sure what it was, but I do remember there being some hype last spring around Lucas Giolito, and now I'm looking at it through the first couple of starts. It's been basically only fastball, changeup. He's thrown 5 sliders total. The fastball velocity is where it was when he was bad, not where it was when he was good. It was actually down even more from this in this one. I think we can go ahead and drop Lucas Giolito.
Deep league pitchers, Ben Lively, Brad Lord, and 2 more, actually. Sean Burke and Chad Patrick there. So 4 names. Any interest in deeper leagues, Chris? Ben Lively, Brad Lord, Sean Burke, and Chad Patrick. All pitched kind of well.
I think with all 4 of these guys, I am only as interested as their next starts. Ben Lively has a 2-start week versus Milwaukee at Cincinnati. Probably going to pass on that one outside of deeper points leagues. Brad Lord at Atlanta at Baltimore.
Nope.
The thing is, statistically, those aren't bad matchups, but I don't trust it. I think there's way too many talented hitters to roll out a middling pitcher there. Sean Burke gets the Cubs. Nope. 1-start week in Wrigley. And Chad Patrick versus the Twins at Cleveland. That's not terrible. I don't have a ton of interest in it, but I would imagine if someone was doing a 10 sleeper pitchers list, he might sneak in there. I don't want to speak for anyone who has to do that, but I could see Chad Patrick sneaking onto that list of 10 sleeper pitchers next week.
All right, let's take a look at some hitters, and I've only got 2 names written down here. Waiver wire Rangers. Josh Smith, 3 for 4 with a walk and RBI. Did not realize he was batting .330 on the season so far. He's got 3 homers, 4 steals, and .895 OPS. 60% rostered with third base, shortstop, and outfield eligibility. And then Evan Carter's first game, he picked up 2 hits here. He was batting 7th in the lineup versus a right-handed pitcher. 32% rostered. Spoke about him a good amount yesterday, but Chris, Josh Smith, should this number be higher than 60%?
He has been the Rangers' second best hitter this season after Wyatt Langford, according to xWOBA at least, or according to regular WOBA, not expected. His expected stats are actually decent, but not as good as his actual stats. The problem with Josh Smith is just even when he's hitting for a good batting average, he doesn't do a ton else, right? He has 4 steals. His career high is 11 in almost 600 plate appearances last season. So I don't expect him to keep his pace up. His career high in homers, 13 last season. He can be useful, but I don't think there's very much upside here. Among these 2, I'm pretty skeptical that Evan Carter is going to be useful or good, I guess is the better word. I'd rather take a flyer on the upside with Evan Carter than Josh Smith, just because I don't think the upside is particularly high.
All right, let's take our final break. When we return, can we drop these 5 hitters? We'll find out right after this.
This is what you were made for.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball today. Can we drop these 5 hitters? Up first, Brandon Lau, hitting .205 with 4 home runs and a .569 OPS. Expected stats to look pretty good for Brandon Lau. He's 83% rostered. Chris, where are you at? Can we drop Brandon Lau?
I would really rather not to. I don't think that's... I would really rather not. like you said, it comes down to the underlying stats, which still suggests that Brandon Lau has been or has deserved much better results. Like his expected WOBA is basically the same as it was last year and the year before. His strikeout rate, it's up 1.7 points. That's basically nothing. So I'm inclined to hang on to Brandon Lau, but in points leagues, he's pretty marginal anyway. So if you drop him there, that's fine. I think in any 12 team or deeper roto league, I'm hanging on to Brandon Lau.
Yeah, I was updating the infield rankings here on Tuesday, and I moved Brandon Lau down behind like Michael Garcia, Jorge Polanco, Gleyber Torres. Those guys are just all off to great starts. And we've talked about Garcia. Polanco's been awesome. Gleyber, maybe we don't buy it as much, but he's doing some good things so far. So I dropped Brandon Lau a little bit, but my guess is all those names are rostered in most leagues at this point anyway.
He's 20th for me at second base, so I can't say I'm like still super in on Brandon Lau, but I think you're probably still rostering the top 20 or so.
I have him at 20 as well. So I moved a lot of those names up. Like I was just aggressive with moving those guys up today. Carlos Correa finally had himself a good game, 3 for 4 with his second home run, but he is batting .233 with a .611 OPS. Chris, what's so interesting about Lau and Correa is that we expected when they play that they would be really good. And then it's just like, all right, when they get hurt, maybe that's when you drop them or whatever. But both guys have been healthy and they haven't been good. So what about Correa? He's still 80% rostered.
He crushed that one today. I think it was 460 feet. I think it was the longest home run anyone hit today. 458 feet. His underlying numbers are bad.
Yes.
This is not a case with Brandon Lau where we can just look at it and say, yeah, but he's hitting the ball hard and it's just not falling in. I don't know. Like he's 30. Maybe we're starting to see some skills decline, but then you look at like the plate discipline metrics. He's still making a lot of contact. His strikeout rate's not particularly high. I haven't been inclined to drop Carlos Correa where I have him. I understand that I was higher than most on him anyway, so there might be a little bit of pot committed on my part, but I still think Carlos Correa's track record is strong enough that I'm going to hang on to him, especially coming off a big game like this. I'm not gonna drop him there.
What about Andres Gimenez? His first 7 games of the season, he hit .308 with 3 home runs, 1 steal, and an .1131 OPS. His next 28 games, including Tuesday, 162 batting average, 0 homers, 2 doubles, 8 steals are nice, with an OPS below 500. He was also dropped to 9th in the Blue Jays lineup. Still 79% rostered is Andres Gimenez.
I mean, he's not a particularly good hitter. He's gotten worse every year since that 2022 breakout. And I think he's better than he's shown so far. The 3 home runs early, it was 3 in the first 5 games?
Yeah,
4 games. 5 games. And like that was obviously a fluke. That was never going to be the norm moving forward. He's better than he has been so far, I think. 320 xWOBA compared to a 261 mark. Gimenez is going to hit probably around 250. He's not going to do a ton else besides steal bases, but he's stealing bases, and I think the batting average will be there. So I don't think I drafted Andres Gimenez anywhere, but if I did, I wouldn't be dropping him right now.
I think in points leagues, he can.
He's extremely fringe in points. And that goes for Correa, right? If you want to drop Carlos Correa in a points league where you only have one shortstop, like he's not a must start there anyway. You look at the rankings at the shortstop position, and it's like, even if he gets hot, I think you'd rather have Dansby Swanson.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Xander Bogaerts is really close. I think Matt McLean, even though he's struggled, I think there's more upside there. So I in points specifically, it's hard to hang on to a lot of these guys.
Yeah. What about Alec Boehm, who finally is on the board? 2 for 4 with his first home run on May 6th that happened. He's batting .237 with a .586 OPS. He's another one that has vastly underperformed his expected stats. Still 84% rostered. What do you think about dropping Alec Boehm?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing with him is his pull rate has collapsed. You know, Scott was talking about that pulled air metric yesterday. Alec Boehm has never ranked highly in that, which has always been part of the problem with Alec Boehm. He hits the ball hard and he makes a lot of contact, but he just hits it in the least opportune way to maximize his damage. Well, it's gone from 12% last year to 7% this year. And so it's going to be really hard to do anything with that kind of profile. He's a harder one because he genuinely is much better in points than Roto. Like, he's a legitimately quite good points player because of how much contact he makes, because of how many RBI he tends to get. I feel like the audience wants me to say that we're dropping someone, but I'm going to hang on to Alec Boehm as well.
No, there just isn't many names behind him at third base either, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the roster rate, the names just below him, under 70%. Josh Young, Dylan Moore, Zach McKinstry, John.
Is Jorge Polanco higher than him now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Polanco's all the way up to 94%.
Michael Garcia?
Yeah, Michael is 90% now as well.
Yeah.
I could have seen
think
maybe doing it for one of those two, but they're gone now. So.
Yeah, or Noel V. Marte, but that would be in a Roto league where the rosters are deeper, and I'm not sure Alec Boehm's someone I want to drop there anyway. So yeah, it's I'm not sure there's a move there that I'd want to make anyway.
Yeah, I do think he's a pretty fair buy low in a like deeper Roto league. If someone is just out on him, sure, take a shot. Last name I'll ask you about, Chris, and it's just, man, how long can this go? Marcus Semien, he's batting 190, 2 home runs, 1 steal, 519 OPS. Strikeout rate is up this season. Line drive rate is a career low. His quality of contact is actually up from where it was last year, but it's bad compared to the rest of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Still 98% rostered, man. Like, what do we do with Marcus Semien?
I don't know. I mean, because he's also gotten moved down in the lineup, so that was always one of the biggest strengths for him, is he's at the top of this very good lineup. He gets tons of counting stats. Well, you know, he's been hitting 5th. And the drop from 1st to 5th is about probably 80 plate appearances over the course of a season.
And
he's always
a volume play too.
Yeah, like that was always the case for him. The quality of contact is better than it was last year. He is striking out a little bit more, but he was always someone who had to outperform his underlying skills to be fantasy relevant. And he didn't do it last year. Now he's not doing it this year. So we're going on, 200 games, probably pretty close of him not doing the one thing that made him a standout. I don't want to give up on him. I think, again, in a Roto league, it's harder to do because those lineups are deeper. I still think there's value as a middle infielder, but he is someone I have dropped quite a bit in my rankings. He's still, I think, a top 10 second baseman the rest of the way for me, but yeah, it wouldn't take much to drop him out of the top 12. And I'm thinking about doing it when I update my rankings later this week.
Yeah, so I updated infield rankings, like I said, and I just kept Semien at 5 just because the names I have just below him are like Westberg is hurt, Edman is hurt, Terang is off to a great start. Like in Roto, if you want to make that case,
yeah,
sure, I think you can, move Terang over.
But that's also a range in the rankings where what's actionable there.
Yeah.
Okay, I've moved Bryce Terang ahead of Marcus Semien. Well, they're both 100% rostered.
Yeah.
Nobody's giving you Bryce Terang for Marcus Semien right now. Is it too early to say Christian Campbell is a top 5 second baseman?
I think it is too early to say it, but it's close. Like Scott has Campbell at 6 already.
Well, and it's the reason I bring it up is like, this was a top 5 prospect in baseball universally. I guess not universally. I think ESPN actually had him like 30th or something, but that was a huge outlier. Everybody else pretty much had him as a top 5 or 10 guy. And he's been phenomenal so far. He's been everything you could have hoped for with the underlying numbers to mostly back it up. And so at some point, I think we've got to just give Christian Campbell that credit, especially when Matt McClain isn't doing it, and Jordan Westbrook wasn't doing it before the injury. I still have faith in him, but he wasn't. And Marcus Simeon's not doing it, and Edmonds hurt now. We don't, hopefully he'll be back next week. Nico Horner just doesn't have that upside. Christian Campbell has hit fourth, I think, 2 straight games now too. So he might just be an elite player. And I don't know, the first top prospect ever who didn't get overdrafted.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been slow to move him up. I totally get it. I probably should just move him higher. I have him 13th in my second base rankings, but yeah, I could probably, he can go ahead of Bogarts, but
I'm thinking I might move him up to 5th.
All right. Aggressive move there.
He's 9th in Roto right now. I'd rather have him than Matt McClain. Matt McClain wasn't a better prospect than Christian Campbell, and Matt McClain's underlying numbers look really bad right now.
Yeah, it's fair.
So yeah, I'm considering it.
All right. Yeah, I think the conclusion on Marcus Semien, by the way, is just I wouldn't drop him. I would bench him.
Yeah, just hang on to him.
I had the hot hand at second base. It always comes down to if I saw Marcus Semien on my waiver wire, I would instantly try to pick him up. Mm-hmm. So other people are probably thinking the same thing, and I think that means you probably should not drop Marcus Semien. Let's get into some starting pitchers here, and let's just talk about where we rank them rest of season. Top blank starting pitchers rest of season. Nathan Eovaldi has been awesome this year. He was at the Red Sox, 6 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. He had 18 whiffs on 90 pitches. He's got a quality start in 6 of 8 outings, 7+ strikeouts in 6 of 8 outings, 2.03 ERA, 0.80 WHIP, and he has just 4 walks in 48 2/3 innings. He has been tremendous this season. Nathan Eovaldi has. Top blank rest of season. Top blank starting pitcher, Chris. What do you think on Nathan Eovaldi?
I don't know how to answer this. You can make a case that right now Nathan Eovaldi's a top 20 starting pitcher, and I wouldn't really argue with it with the way he's pitching right now, and with the way he always pitches in the first half. He has changed his approach to prioritize the curveball, cutter, and splitter. Fastball was a little more integrated in this one, but it's been really good no matter what he's thrown. It's just 2022, 4.91 ERA after the All-Star break. 2023, 7.18, only 7 starts because he got hurt. 2024, 4.81 ERA after the All-Star break. It's just, it always comes off the rails for Nathan Eovaldi. And that makes a rest of season ranking hard. So I'm going to say 35-ish. Yeah. But that's I think it's top 20 until July. And then maybe not rosterable after that. That's been the trend for him.
I think that's a prudent way to rank pitchers like Eovaldi, though. And I've mentioned this with other, pitchers that have dealt with injury, right? If you think he's a top 20 pitcher on a per start basis, but has elevated injury risk, then you have to knock him back a little bit for that. And as a result, I think, probably top 36, top 30. Maybe you can get him inside your top 30 starting pitchers, but I do think Eovaldi is close to that, and he's been a huge win so far.
The thing is, it's hard to do that in the moment. It's hard to watch Nathan Eovaldi or Tyler Glasnow or Blake Snell, frankly, when things are going well and say, yeah, but he's not a top 20, top 10, whatever. It's hard to say that because it feels dumb. When Tyler Glasnow is healthy and pitching well, he's a top 12 pitcher in baseball. And so it's, are you ranking right now or are you ranking rest of season? Those are different questions. And I think Nathan Eovaldi right now, I probably can't name more than 20 pitchers I'd rather start than him. That doesn't mean there aren't more than 30 pitchers I'd rather have the rest of the way too.
Let's talk about Zach Gallen, who apparently just loves facing New York teams. 7 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts here, only 8 whiffs on 101 pitches, though. He's got a quality start in 4 of 8 outings. 3 of his best starts have been against the Yankees, and then now 2 in a row against the Mets. It's just so weird that he struggles so much to throw strikes. This has been an ongoing issue for so long now for Zach Gallen. What do you have Gallen? What do you think in the rest of season for him?
I think he has remained in the 30-ish range at SP. I don't know. He's kind of an enigma. because he, like you said, the command has been bad for, I mean, really like the last 4 months of pitching that we've seen from him, basically since he came back from that hamstring injury last year. The control has been pretty bad. The curveball looks really good, though. He's got 42% whiff rate. The changeup, 37%. Like, maybe it's just, maybe he needs to go with that Nathan Eovaldi approach and start fading that four-seamer a little more, because it's not like it's helping him avoid walks anyway. That might be the case with Zach Gallen.
I'll say top 40 starting pitcher for Gallen, and in a vacuum, I think I would rather have Eovaldi, but it's close.
Gallen just feels like such a safer bet to stay healthy, but I can't argue with you. Like, I think that's a really tough one, because when things turn for Eovaldi, you could also just drop him and find a replacement pitcher who helps you out, and maybe you hit something really good. So I don't know. I'd rather have Gallen, but I can see that.
What about Seth Lugo, who turned in a quality start against the White Sox? He has 4 quality starts in a row, and during that stretch, a 1.98 ERA, a .95 WHIP, 21 strikeouts over 27 and a third innings. Chris, Seth Lugo, blank SP rest of season.
Buddy, I have no idea. I cannot figure out Seth Lugo. Like, his strikeout rate is even lower than it was last year, and his walk rate is even higher than it was last year. And he's been the same guy. Like, his ERA is now lower than it was last season. His whip is almost identical. The normal rules do not seem to apply to Seth Lugo. And at some point, I think it will catch up to him. But I've been saying that for a year now, and it has not come true. So I have no idea with Seth Lugo. Like, I am open to the idea that these guys who throw 15 different pitches, that's an exaggeration, but only a slight one for Seth Lugo, who throws 10 different pitches.
Yeah.
That there is something about that just befuddles hitters and we can't use the normal rules to judge them. But like, that's what xERA is supposed to account for. Like, if Seth Lugo is generating so many weak swings because hitters are not sure what's coming and they're just guessing and they're flailing, you would expect that to lead to weak contact, and that should be captured in xERA. And he has a 1-run gap between his xERA and his ERA. So I will continue to say Seth Lugo is more like a top 40 starting pitcher, even though he has spent the last year plus pitching like a top 15 starting pitcher.
Yeah, I would have him even lower. I think it's more like a top 50 starting pitcher. I still think this is the sell high window on Lugo.
Yeah.
I totally hear what you're saying. Maybe he is just, because of all those pitches, he just kind of defies the metrics that we normally look at. It's totally a possibility for him, but
it's just, you would think that would lead to a lot of weak contact.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the way it would work out.
He still gave up 9 hard hits against the
Yeah.
White Sox today. You know, it's just, I don't know.
Also,
maybe Lugo will just keep making this look silly.
did you watch the end of that game?
Oh my gosh.
The White Sox blew that game in the dumbest way I've ever seen a team lose a game.
It's like the Bad News Bears.
It's
no joke.
It was a hit in the head on a pop-up
that hit him on the head, directly on the head.
And then I think the next play is like hit right at the shortstop, and he bobbles it and can't get it was just,
oh my goodness. It's rough. It is rough.
They're somehow harder to watch this year than they were last year. Maybe because they actually have like decent pitching this year.
Jeez. Yes. It was a rough one. Tony Gonsolin, not a rough one. Solid at the Marlins again. 5 innings, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, 18 whiffs on 82 pitches. Velocity way up in this one. Tony Gonsolin, top blank SP rest of season.
We'll say 60 for now. That's off the top of my head. I don't actually, where did I move him when I updated last week? Yeah, not anywhere close to that. So let's eyeball it.
I think
Tyler Mahle or Tony
60
Gonsolin.
I think 60 is a good number.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have. Here's one. Tony Gonsolin or Brandon Pfaadt. You're the Pfaadt guy.
Yeah, and we saw a regression start last time out, and he faces the Dodgers this week, so probably more regression coming. I would take Gonsolin.
Yeah, I'm thinking tops.
I think there's more swing and miss, and he's on a better team.
Gonsolin or Gavin Williams.
Gonsolin
or Roki Sasaki.
Ooh. That is close. I won't rank it this way.
Head says Gonsolin, right?
I won't rank it this way, but yeah, like I'd rather start Gonsolin right now.
You haven't seen 2 starts from Sasaki as good as the only 2 starts we've seen from Gonsolin. You haven't seen 1 start from Sasaki, frankly, as good as anything we've seen from Gonsolin so far. Now, it's 2 starts against the Marlins. Let's see what he does against a better team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking top 60, yeah.
And last one here is Drew Rasmussen, who has struggled a bit recently. Last 3 starts, a 6.28 ERA, a 140 whip, under a strikeout per inning. He has not completed 6 innings all season. What about Drew Rasmussen, Chris? A top blank SP rest of the season?
Yeah, he's a tough one because it feels like it should be an upside case. But if he's rarely going to throw 6 innings, is there that much difference between him and like Griffin Canning? I think Rasmussen's probably better.
Yeah.
But the strikeouts have been weirdly hit or miss, especially lately. I think Rasmussen is more like a top 75 pitcher.
I think that's fair. All right, let's jump around a little bit here to wrap up some leftovers. I had a hey real quick, but it would have to be really, really quick. Jackson Trio, 2 for 4 with his 3rd stolen base of the season. I wanted to ask what's going on, and then I dug in, like, the numbers actually look okay. It's just he's not walking at all. He has 2 walks this season, and the quality of contact is down. So I kind of think maybe Trio's just going to be a perennial slow starter. It's too early to say that, but I don't know. That's kind of my lean for now. And it's not even that terrible of a start.
I mostly agree with it. The lack of steals has been disappointing again because I thought that they would let him go. And he has 5 attempts in 36 games. So that would come out to, it's still only around 30 steal attempts, which is right around what he was last year. So you'd like to see more than that. I think, half jokingly, maybe some meditation. He seems like he's an incredibly aggressive hitter, and I think it's to his own detriment. 50, he swings at the first pitch 50% of the time. League average is 30% of the time. He's swinging overall at 60% of pitches. Last year it was 49%. So,
and he's their leadoff hitter.
Yeah, like just calm down, buddy. It's okay.
Yeah,
but I'll bet on the talent with a player like Jackson Holliday. We saw first round upside from him as a 20-year-old.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna even think about jumping ship after a month here.
Pablo Lopez was great against the Orioles.
Awesome.
5 innings, 1 run, 11 strikeouts, 18 whiffs on 98 pitches here. Fastball was incredible. The curveball's been really good this season. It's 2 earned runs or fewer in all 6 starts. He's getting a lot of ground balls as well. So especially the ground balls, I like what Pablo Lopez is doing because he does struggle with like home runs at times and just these blow up starts, but getting more ground balls, maybe that can help mitigate things for Pablo this season.
It looks like it looks like he's putting it all together, but we've seen flashes from Pablo before. Then he goes on these month-long stretches with 5+ ERA. So I don't want to say he's putting it all together, but he's
it does look like it though.
Yes, this is what Pablo Lopez looks like when things are going well. It just, he rarely does this for more than a couple of months at a time.
Anything going on with Paul Skeens, who took a tough luck loss at the Cardinals? 6 innings, 2 runs, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, had 13 whiffs on 102 pitches, only threw 59% of his pitches for strikes. When you pair that with 11 hard hits allowed, you're almost never going to wind up with a win. And he didn't even pitch that poorly. It was 6 innings, 2 runs, but just the walks and hard hits allowed, it's a bad combination here.
Yeah, I mean, the hard hits today weren't great, but his expected WOBA entering this start was on contact was super low. And since he entered the majors, only 3 pitchers have a lower expected WOBA on contact than Paul Skeens. He has the 18th lowest walk rate among 73 starters in that same span. I think it's just a bump in the road. The strikeout rate has been low this season. He has a lower strikeout rate now than Chris Bassett, which is not what we expected. I don't know what the odds you could have gotten on that coming in, but still 12.6% swinging strike rate. The biggest thing he seems to be having a little trouble putting hitters away. I wrote about this on CBSSports.com, but the stuff still looks awesome. The overall swinging strike rate and whiff rates all look really good. I think he's going to be fine. He's got like a 2.70 ERA, so he already is fine. Yeah. But I think the strikeout rate is going to shoot back up to 30%. I don't have any concerns about the walk rate. He did lower his arm slot on purpose this year. Maybe he's just dealing with a little bit of inconsistency as a result of that. I don't know. But my level of concern for Paul Skeens is extremely low.
I do believe that Lance Brzezowski put out a video talking about that exact thing, and that pitchers might be lowering their arm slots to avoid injury.
Yeah,
I didn't actually watch the video, so I do want to check that out.
I've seen some suggestion of that. There was a piece in Baseball Prospectus about a similar topic, I think last week. I don't know. It's if it keeps guys a little healthier, that's a great thing, but it's also tough. Like, is a guy lowering his arm slot on purpose? Is he lowering his arm slot to account for some kind of underlying issue? It's impossible to say. I don't think there's anything going on with Paul Skeens. I would still bet on him. Like, he's still my number 3 SP. I have not moved him down. So I'm not too concerned.
We are getting lots of questions about Nick Kurtz so far, who went 0 for 2 with another strikeout here. He is batting .262, 0 homers, 39% strikeout rate. The zone contact is bad. The swinging strike rate is very high. He is hitting the ball hard so far. It's a lot of line drives, 0 barrels. Obviously, that would explain the 0 home runs so far. I know people probably don't want to hear this, especially if they spent a lot of fab to get Nick Kurtz, but he kind of feels like someone that you keep on the bench because we think that he has huge upside and obviously like big raw power. But I think it might take a little bit of time for him to tap into that.
Yes. The problem is, I guess the problem is, how much do the A's take their, decent start to the season seriously? They are 20-16, or they were.
That's pretty good.
They're 20-17. I guess they lost today, right? So they're 20-17. They're second in the division. They're within 2 games, I think, or 3 games of the division lead. Do they actually think this is their chance to make a playoff run? Or are they content to just see what happens? If they think that they actually have a real shot and they want to go for it, I think there's real playing time risk for Nick Kurtz because this is the worst defense in baseball. I think by every metric that I've seen, outs above average, UZR, whatever you want to pick, I have seen that the A's have been the worst defense in baseball, which makes sense. Tyler Soderstrom is playing a lot of outfield for them right now. And when he's not, Brent Rooker is. It's going to be a problem. And so, if Kurtz doesn't get going quickly, I do think there's risk of being sent back down. I'm not cutting him until that happens, though. I'll sit him on my bench.
Mm-hmm. They're -23 run differential. Their expected wins loss. I never saw this before. This is something they have on MLB.com. Expected win-loss is 16-21, so they have overperformed so far. Interesting. We'll see. Some other leftovers here. Studs being studs among starting pitchers. Zach Wheeler, 7 innings, 2 runs, 9 strikeouts against the Rays. Michael King turned in a quality start in his return to Yankee Stadium. 6 innings, 2 runs, only 2 strikeouts here, but he has been money. 2.22 ERA and a .99 WHIP. Chris, anything on Wheeler and Michael King?
And these guys are awesome.
All right. Hitting leftovers, James Wood continues to mash, hit his 10th home run in game 1 of their doubleheader, and it went to the pull side. How about that? Kyle Schwarber had himself a huge game, 3 for 4 with a sock and a shoe. His 12th home run, his 3rd steal. Nick Castellanos just doing his thing, 3 for 5 with his 4th home run. Shohei Ohtani became the first player to go 10-10, and he is currently on pace to go 47-47. So if you thought he
Pretty good.
had no chance to go 50-50 again, I don't know. He might just prove us all wrong.
Yeah.
Again.
Man, we'll see what happens when they start trying to have him pitch, which I don't know when that's going to happen anyway. But yeah, he's been pretty bonkers so far.
It is so crazy to me that he has 38 runs scored and 15 RBI. Like the bottom of the Dodgers lineup is so bad.
Yeah, that's disappointing, but what is that? 53 combined runs in 30 something games. You'll take that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I saw he's on pace for like 170 runs scored.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
It's like 70 RBI or something like that. It's crazy. Freddie Freeman will not stop, 2 for 4 with his 8th home run. He has 4 homers in his past 6 games. Jung-Hoo Lee continues his strong start, 3 for 6 with his 4th homer. He's batting .312 with an .871 on base. Nope, .871 OPS on base would be insane. Elliot Ramos is coming around his last 9 games, hitting .375 with 2 home runs and 1 steal. And I did want to give a shout out to George Springer, who continues to hit here. I don't have the box score pulled up, but I believe he hit another
2 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBI and a run scored.
What do we got?
60 OPS now.
Wow, look at that, man. Fountain of youth for George Springer. How about that? A couple other anything to add?
I don't quite get it. All of a sudden at 35, he's putting together not just the best numbers, but the best underlying numbers that we've seen from him in a long time. His expected WOBA was 458 on contact. That's his highest mark since 2018.
Wow.
That's a long time. Him and I were both in our 20s the last time he hit the ball this well.
I didn't even work here.
I have no idea if he can keep this up, but the underlying data is backing up what he's doing, which is perhaps more impressive than the actual numbers. Like everything looks great for him.
His average exit velocity is up 5 miles per hour.
And it's not like there's his bat speed's up a little bit, but I don't really understand. Like he hasn't made a huge change to his swing.
The launch angle. That's a huge change. He's gone from a 51% ground ball rate to 29%. So it's a lot of fly balls, lots of line drives. The expected stats are awesome, man. Yeah. If you drafted George Springer just on a whim in a 5 outfielder league,
looking great.
Yeah, you might have found something here in his age 35 season. Crazy. Called to the bullpen for the Nationals in game 1 of their doubleheader. Kyle Finnegan picked up his 12th save, and that is tied for 2nd in all of baseball. For the Reds, Emilio Pagan got the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. He promptly gave up a run on a hit and a walk, took his 2nd blown save, and the Reds wound up losing in extra innings. The White Sox, I mean, we mentioned some of it, but somebody named Cam Boozer came on for the save. It was just a disaster. Chase Mydroth, a pop-up just hit him on the top of the head. It was crazy. The White Sox have 1 save this season.
Well, that's because they keep blowing people out.
Yeah, just like their run differential is oddly similar to the A's so far this season.
Well, it's because I don't know if it's changed, but as of like 5 days ago, I saw a graphic that the White Sox and Cubs were tied for the most wins of at least 7 runs this season with like 6.
Wow.
Like they've only won by blowout margins. I don't have any clue why that's happening.
That's baseball, Susan. For the Brewers, Trevor McGill struck out 1 for his 4th save, and for the Cardinals, basically their entire bullpen was unavailable. Gordon Graceffo picked up his 1st career save. To stream or not to stream on Wednesday, we have Gunnar Hoagland going up against the Mariners. Tanner Houck is home against the Rangers. Michael Wacha home against the White Sox. Ben Brown home against the Giants. What do you think?
I do want to see, did I start Houck in the one league? I had one league where I hadn't dropped him yet. I did start him. Okay.
The Rangers lineup outside of today has been terrible.
They've been one of the worst lineups in baseball. That's another thing I wrote about on CBSSports.com today, that just not a lot to feel good about with that lineup either. Like, the underlying numbers don't really suggest that there's anyone like Adolis Garcia's had some bad luck. Corey Seager's had some bad luck, but they've also had a couple of guys with similar good luck. I think that's a pretty good matchup. I think 2023 is the outlier, especially the Rangers are old. For a team that kind of came out of nowhere very quickly, they're the fourth oldest lineup in baseball. Behind like the Braves, Dodgers, and Yankees, maybe. I don't know who the other one was.
But what if Brett Boone gets them back on track, Chris?
I mean, maybe that'll happen. I don't know what, I'm not going to say it. All right. Tanner Houck. I'll start Tanner Houck after the velocity was up last time against a good matchup.
I think, Waka is the top of the list, but
yeah,
if I had to choose two others, I think I would go Gunnar Hoagland and then probably Tanner Houck after that. But
I would say I wouldn't want to choose two others just because I don't want to start Gunnar Hoagland against the Mariners. Mariners lineup's actually good.
Yeah. For on Thursday, some options. We have Jack Leiter at the Red Sox, Brian Bayo home against the Rangers, and Jose Soriano home against the Blue Jays.
Don't really love these options either. I could see Bayo having a good start, but I don't trust him yet.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at too. Soriano, similar thing. It's lots of hard contact, but a lot of it is on the ground. So if you need anything on Thursday, I would go Bayo or Soriano. Leiter hasn't looked good in Fenway. That's a tough spot to pitch. So I would stay away from Jack Leiter there. We are going to wrap there. For Chris, I am Frank. Thanks as always for tuning into Fantasy Baseball today. Please make sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify. And we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.